Commissioner, welcome to the program here. Did you expect this backlash from fellow Republicans?
You know, Jason, I think that any time that, you have a family, you're going to have disagreements. Any time that you have...
These are public disagreements.
I know,
this is not
I
an internal
know.
family squabble.
But I'll tell you this. So I've been a police officer for 15 years. I served in the gang unit. I served in robbery. I served in patrol. I've been in plenty of fights. This is not a fight. I think that any time that you've got policy positions, any time that you've got practices involved, that you're going to have disagreements and that folks are going to view things differently. And that's okay. I think the main theme, though, and the main thing is we have to make sure that we're focused and that we are collectively guided towards the same mission, which is winning in November.
You made the motion to keep the sites on college campuses open. Why do you think those sites are needed?
Ultimately, I think that expanded access to voting is important for our constitutional republic. I mean, we have to make sure that we're providing free and fair access to the voting site for everybody. I swore an oath when I became a police officer that I would protect and defend our citizens. That same oath goes towards protecting and defending our Constitution and our rights to vote. I just could not morally agree with getting rid of a site that had historically seen upwards of 10,000 people voting at it. Obviously, it's heavily utilized. And there are a myriad of other reasons why I think that expanded access is important, but more than anything, I think more voting helps. More voting helps everybody. More voting helps our democracy. And I think that we've got a compelling message to tell at these college campuses.
Judge O'Hara said there's low turnout there and closing these locations would save the county money. The Tarrant County Republican Party kind of got more to the point here in the politics and said closing these would help the party win in November. What do you think this is all about?
Well, ultimately, I think what it's about for me is making sure that we're protecting access to the vote. As I mentioned, I think that we've got a compelling message for college students.
But was it on the other side, Commissioner? Do you think that this was all about suppressing the vote?
I can't speak to the motivations of anybody for why they take the stances that they take. I can only speak to mine. And my motivation for making the motion to protect our voting sites in general truly was to back the recommendations of our elections administrator. We pay this person to do that job full time to discover which sites are the most useful, which sites are most convenient for our citizens, and they make those recommendations. So it's my duty as a commissioner not to do their job, but it's to follow those recommendations and make sure we're providing equal and fair access to voting sites.
The elections administrator was appointed by a Republican.
Yeah, well, he's reported by a panel that's majority Republican, and ultimately I think that the elections administrator is the one who's the expert in the details. He knows how his volunteers, how our paid staff are going to be able to administer these elections, and I trust his guidance.
This vote on the outside looks like a strong rebuke of Judge Tim O'Hara. Have you spoken to him since?
I have. We actually had court yesterday, and I don't think it's a rebuke of Judge Tim O'Hara. I think what it is it's me standing firm with my principles and saying, look, I'm going to do what's right, regardless of how others may view it. I think that that's my duty to the folks that I serve. And quite frankly, Jason, I've been so pleased with all of the feedback that I've gotten. I mean, I've had contact from hundreds, if not thousands, of incredible Republicans from across the state of Texas that have said, Manny, thank you for standing up. Thank you for championing, standing behind your principles in a vote like this.
Did you and the county judge talk about this?
When?
After the vote?
No, so we've had conversations. Obviously, we had court yesterday,
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we all recognize that we may have disagreements. We may have disagreements on policy. We may have disagreements now and in the future, but at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same goal.
The Tarrant County GOP said, quote, it's not a quote, rephrase that. The Tarrant County GOP said you're not upholding the party's values and you're undermining the Republican Party's chances of winning in November by wanting to close those voting locations on college campuses. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, I wouldn't characterize it as that. And obviously, the folks that have reached out to me have expressed their displeasure with the local party's messaging. But I can tell you this, at the end of the day, we'll all be unified and we'll all be on the same team, because what really matters is making sure that we're getting out there with solid messaging to win in November. Because we know it's conservative policies, not politics, that win in November. It's conservative results, not conservative rhetoric. That's what makes society great. Texas is a great state because of conservative policies that have helped us build this infrastructure. And I know we've got a compelling message to tell in November. We've got a compelling message to tell to college students. These are college students, they're just now learning their identity. They're going to get out there in the world, and we're the party of economic opportunity, the party of economic interest, and the party of more jobs, lower taxes. We're the party that says you can be anything that you want to be if you put your mind to it and you work hard enough. And so I think we've got a compelling message to carry to college students. And so ultimately, I don't think it undermines anything.
That's kind of the reaction from some Republican officials on social media, saying Republicans should do like they've done in the past and earn the vote, as opposed to trying to deploy some of these tricks, maybe.
Well, I think Republicans always, or any candidate or any party or any platform, should focus on earning the vote. That's our duty to the people that we serve, is to get out there and spread that message and to say exactly why we believe our message is going to resonate with these voters, and more than anything, why our policies are going to improve the lives of the Texans and the Americans that we're serving. We saw for 4 years that we had a much better economic environment in the United States whenever we had a Republican president in Donald Trump. And so we know that going back to that and giving us 4 more years of that is going to be helpful. And it's going to stop all of the record inflation that we have going on right now, the things that you see around the country. It's going to stop that because conservative policies, not politicians and not politics, because of our policies.
You're downplaying this as an internal family squabble here, but the Tarrant County GOP, Beau French, the chairman there, issued a veiled threat and said essentially that this vote, could cost you in the next election with endorsements or something like that. Do you think you'll pay a price for it?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was a police officer for 15 years. I've got very, very thick skin, and I don't scare easily. I'll say I don't think this is a fight at all. I think that we can unite and carry this message forward. And like I said, I think that there's going to be disagreements. Not everybody's going to agree on everything, but we can all agree on some things. And the one thing conservative Republicans agree on is that we have to win in November.
Let me bring up one other issue recently. The majority of commissioners there in Tarrant County, including you, voted to prohibit people from registering to vote inside county buildings and made the voter registration happen outside in the heat, in the rain, in the weather out there. If this is about access, why not allow people to vote inside in a corner in a county building somewhere? What was that all about?
A little bit of a misnomer there. The vote was actually, we had partisan organizations that were having volunteer deputy registrars in county facilities registering folks to vote. And so, quite frankly, my stance was that no partisan organization should be allowed to use county facilities to conduct any type of activity like that, because then you get in the position of choosing winners and losers and one group over the other. Now, if our elections administrator wants to stand up voter registration operations throughout the county, fully support that, but we're not going to utilize county resources, taxpayer resources for partisan organizations to do that type of operation.
Commissioner, thank you.
Thank you so much.